Yes. Welcome, everyone. If you're watching live, of course, that means it is Wednesday at noon Eastern time, which is always time for the High Noon Ham Show. There's Beach appearing on screen. Of course, you can find us in many, many places. You're on the Facebook at Hemptations Beach, the Facebook page. Also, the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel, and you can check out at Hemptations on Twitter or X, whatever it is you call it. These days, I am Stoner Jesus. I do various shenanigans and tomfooleries on the interwebs, which you can look up if you feel like it. He is Beach, and he is high above the Ohio River on the USS Hemptations today. How are things this week, Beach, in the world of Hemptations?
They are good. It's one last beautiful day. We can only hope. We'll see how it works out. But I will have to say that being a numbers person. So we're now in season 23. This is episode 10. This is 10/23 as the date. So,
Nice.
that is, those numbers always pop out of me. Thanks everybody for tuning in to the High Noon Hemp Show. That is correct. It is high noon. It is Wednesday. It's time to talk hemp. And remember, the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy.
Any day now.
Go FDA. No, literally go. No, they pretty much have gone. With that, let's all bring in, put your hands on your hemp, and let's read the I Hemp Revolution Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil in which it is planted. One seed under the sun with responsibility, sustainability, and thrivability for all. Dun, dun, dun. There you have it. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I teach half of the marijuana class at UC. Bonnie brings me in. She's the professor to do my hemp keynote. And I really enjoy it. The kids, I think, I shouldn't say kids. I think some of our students are adults as well. But I think it's very educating for them on the hemp side of things. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. And this is the first time that I get to do it. That because her class is earlier this year, it's at 4:00. I will actually be doing my presentation at 4:20.
Nice.
So that'll be fun. Alarms will be going off everywhere for that, I'm sure. All right, let's jump right into the product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from my door here on the High Noon Hemp Show. The first one is the hemp tencils. I think if you've watched the show, you know how much I love hemp composite. So anything that we can make out of hemp composite to replace plastic is number 1 on the list at this point. How about some hemp utensils? We got knives, we got forks, we got spoons. You've got one set that just has 2 of each, and then one set that I believe has 4 of each. And of course, they are reusable, biodegradable. I believe these are actually even compostable, possibly. And that's just a time period as to how long it takes to break them down. But they are reusable too, so they have multiple uses. Before you can just chuck them out in the yard and let them go back to nature. So if you're looking for some hemp utensils, there you have it. Easy solution. The next one is all the hoodies. How about some hoodies? This is definitely hoodie season. It's like great during the day, but then all of a sudden the sun goes down, and it is cool quick. So definitely hoodie season. Get yourself into Northside and I'm going to boost the number of hoodies hopefully this week. Get them on the rack so we can get them out there into the world. So how about the 13th floor? We just got a fresh batch of 13th floor gummies. These are straight out of Kentucky. They have different flavors. We do have 3 different flavors. I know that mango is a flavor. You got the blue raz here, which is, I think, the most popular flavor. And then there's one other, maybe pineapple, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. I should know that, and I don't. But basically, 3 gummies in there. It's got about, I think it's got almost a 5-to-1 ratio CBD to THC. So they are THC, but they also have a decent amount of CBD in them. So I think that these are definitely the gummies for the calming side of things, without a doubt. And the last one is the Temptations CBD gummies. I have to mention these. It is under my, part of my contract is to mention Temptations products, at least once a month on the product spotlight. So this month, so we have the Temptations brand CBD gummies. They come in a 300, a 900, and I'm sorry, a 300, a 600, and a 900. And basically, that's just a quantity. Our gummies are 10 milligrams of CBD, grown semi-locally. Everything's Kentucky grown, Kentucky manufactured, Kentucky processed. I wish I could read that.
So there was about a 40 degree difference
Yes.
between when I put my kid on the bus and when he gets off the bus today.
100% hoodie season, just like I said. But anyway, so if you're looking, these are very popular. We have a fresh batch of these on the way as well, because they do sell very well. And so there you have it. There's the 4 from the store. The one from my door is these. We made these in the Planet Everywhere manufacturing center. But these boxes made out of hemp press board, I call them stackable boxes, and I have them in different widths, heights. They're all about the same. I don't know. Here I'll describe it as a width. If you turn it on its side, it's a height, but they all can kind of mix and match and make different, patterns of stuff. This is how we had it at the house. Just stacked underneath the TV with the sound bar on top. But these particular ones are great for like knickknacks and stuff, just fun stuff to put on a little shelf. So just one of the many uses of hemp press board that we have utilized at the Planet Everywhere manufacturing facilities. Mm-hmm. All right, there you have it. 4 from the store, 1 from my door, here on the High Noon Hemp Show product spotlight.
That brings us to the as yet unrecognized Guinness World Record segment. They ignore us to this day. They ignore hemp completely in favor of many other ridiculous records that they keep track of, and actually send people. They put part of their budget into sending people to go keep track of these ridiculous records. We're keeping track of Beach's records right here on the High Noon Hemp Show, because every week we talk about it in the Beachwear segment. All I have to do is ask Beach one simple question, and he'll tell us all about what he is wearing. And that question is, what are you wearing, Beach?
How about a little bright green? You curious? Hey, what are you wearing, Beach? How about I'm going as bright green as I can, I believe, with this outfit. Other than I should have my Hemp Hoodland hoodie with this one, which is also very bright. You'll be seeing that soon here on the What Are You Wearing Beach segment, as it stays cooler during the day. That is for sure. But this one is thought I'd be normal too. A little normal hat up top there made by Grassroots. My shirt is The Hemp Company shirt. My shorts are Dash Hemp. Go check out Dash Hemp. See what they have available for sale online. Been around for a long time. You'll see in my pocket there, if you look closely, my Green Springs Technology ink pen. Underneath it all, I've got a pair of Satori briefs, and right to the right of those Satori briefs, you can barely see them, are a pair of Oasis no-show socks. And I'm not positive that I have ever worn these Adidas on the show before. Maybe way, way back in the day, possibly one of the first shows over 200 and something odd shows ago. But this may be the first time I have worn these particular Adidas on the show. One of my oldest pair of Adidas, probably the first pair of Adidas that weren't shell toes that I found made out of hemp. And now if you watch the show at all, you know that Adidas has gone hog wild with hemp, and they use a lot of hemp in their shoes, and it's great. These are definitely, again, one of my older pair of Adidas that I own. And so there you have it. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know. Here on the High Noon Hemp Show. All right, well, we're still in it. We're not quite there yet with this good old thing they call an election. So I figure I'm going to break out the one of my, if not favorite, commercials. It's not my favorite commercial ever, but it is definitely top of the list. But you can't ever not have enjoyment watching this debate commercial. So here you go, and then we'll be back with some news.
What is your stance on Hemptations? I am pro Hemptations. I am anti-Hemptations. It is said Hemptations has the largest selection of hemp on the planet. Thoughts? My opponent would say food and fiber, but I say CBD and plastics. Simply not false. I would go on to add body products and paper. What's the one location you want everyone to know about? Well, they are all great, so start with the one closest to you. I say adventure out to the store furthest from you. Closing words? Use hemp to help the planet. Help the planet by using hemp. Having Hemptations? I am having Hemptations.
Dun, 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 dun. All right. So last week I mentioned Senator Rand Paul. I don't know if I mentioned it was Rand Paul that brought this up. Republican from Kentucky. He has introduced the Hemp Economic Mobilization Plan, which would be known as the Hemp Act if it is passed, which raises the THC limit to 1%. But it also it makes testing for THC to the end product. So whatever you're sending to the shelf. So once the product is made, then you test it for THC. Then it has to be under that 0.3% by dry weight equation. And I do believe that both of these are great ideas. Once again, taking the testing out of the farmer's hands is optimal to making hemp farming everyday farming. It's one of the key aspects that has to happen for the farmers, for your average farmer to start growing hemp. That's one of the things that has to be done. I think the 1%, we've been talking about it since day one, is a great idea. I think the one thing that irritates me the most is that Rand Paul has a chance to be in somebody's ear that's on the Farm Bill committee. And these things should be what they're changing in the Farm Bill when it comes to industrial hemp. These are the exact things that need to be addressed in the Farm Bill with industrial hemp, not the things that they're addressing in the Farm Bill when it comes to industrial hemp, including the intoxicating hemp thing. I think just drop all that. If you want to make changes to the hemp section of the Farm Bill, these are the changes to be made. The fact that he has to introduce this as a separate bill is again, it shows you how uncommunicative our government is.
Yeah.
They're all in the same building at some point or another, I feel like. And all you got to do is be like, hey, who's on the Farm Bill committee? Hey, have you guys thought about this? I know you're discussing this, but, and so it's just ridiculous that this has to be another act. And so I guess this supersedes the Farm Bill if it goes through, which is great. It doesn't in any way, as far as I know, address the intoxicating hemp issue, which I don't think that they know how to address in the Farm Bill anyway. You can't just describe it as intoxicating hemp. So, and I don't know that's why the Farm Bill is stalling. I think the Farm Bill is stalling purely because both parties are saying, we want these things. You're not going to give on either one, so we're just going to not do anything, which is, again, a ridiculous way to look at something called the Farm Bill or the Agricultural Act, as it really is. It's called the Agricultural Act or Agricultural Farm, whatever. But the fact that this is such a low priority for them that they have to squabble about the dumbest things to not pass it is, once again, just shows you how inefficient these things really are. But once again, Rand Paul is introducing this hemp economics mobilization plan. And again, these are the things we want changed in the hemp world. And these are straight coming out of Kentucky, the things that the industrial hemp farming world wants changed. Kentucky is, one of the largest growers of industrial hemp, again, in this country, and they should know what they want. I don't know that they care as much about this intoxicating hemp stuff as they do about making hemp as easy to grow as, specifically in Kentucky, tobacco, but corn, soy, cotton, any of those plants, any of those other agricultural plants, it should be just as easy. And once again, we shouldn't be having to have these other acts brought up, whether they're actually, this is, I think, like the third time that I believe this has been introduced, and I don't know how far it will get. On the other side of that, you have, which I think is interesting, because you had a Republican that's wants to open up do the right things for industrial hemp. Now you have a Democrat in Oregon, Senator Ron Wyden, who introduced a bill that would create a federal regulatory framework for hemp-derived cannabinoids. Okay, so yet another government agency to try to figure out this whole thing, which 100% doesn't need to be done. Just figure it out in all the agencies that regulate all these things to begin with, starting with the FDA. The FDA should be, it's the ones that have the frame. They have the framework. They just need to be the ones to figure out whether hemp-derived cannabinoids are safe or not. That's it, honestly. That's all that needs to be done with that. It does say that it'll let the state decide, okay, and it would empower the FDA to ensure safety standards, including marketing specifically directed towards children. See, this is the thing that just kills me. It's like I'm for most of this stuff, okay? To go after the packaging, it's just stupid. Put age restrictions on it, yes. Put it in any type of packaging you want. Okay, I don't care if the kids think the pack of THC gummies behind the counter looks like it's candy that they want. Okay, they're not going to get it. It's not like, again, this is what kills me about this whole packaging thing to begin with. Okay, it's like they would lead you to believe that they just have this stuff out on the shelf in these little grocery stores or wherever, gas stations, because they're fighting specifically to have this stuff not sold in gas stations. Okay, like it's out on the shelf with other candies. Like, here's your regular gummies that any kid can pick up and say, Mommy, Daddy, can I have some of these? Are right beside your THC gummies, where a little kid could say, Mommy, Daddy, can I have some of these? That's not, it's 100% how it's not happening. Anybody that's even selling any intoxicating hemp or hemp in packaging that is what they say towards children, which is not true. Okay, I don't know how many single adults out there go out there and buy themselves a pack of gummies at the gas station without THC, just over little gummies, okay, that don't have kids. And so, again, it's like, I don't even understand that to begin with. I think that it should be illegal for all candy companies, because sugar is not good for kids or humans, or, in high concentrations. We've proven this medically wise. I don't think it should be good for, like, candy. I think candy stores shouldn't even be able to put things in packaging for kids then. If we can't do it with stuff that's behind the counter, then they shouldn't even be able to do it with stuff that kids can see, oh, look how cute this packaging is. I want this because of the packaging, mommy, daddy. And then the ingredients are terrible. Well, again, I mean, if it's a health issue, it's just as bad health-wise for the kids to be eating all that sugar to begin with. Anyway, so again, I like a little bit of this. I like stuff like that, which, makes it so the FDA does have to do something, because I really feel like that's the only way the FDA is going to move on any industrial hemp cannabinoids, which again are not on the controlled substance list. So anybody could submit the testing to say, but I think the FDA has to do the study to prove that it's safe, or has to do a study to prove that it's safe. And they're just like refusing. They're refusing to come up with any legitimate study to say whether CBD is safe or unsafe for humans, which to me, once again, seems like we should be suing them for that. I mean, here's an over-the-counter product that the FDA should at least say whether it's grass or not, which is generally regarded as safe, which is all the foods we eat, even the terrible red dye number 5 or whatever it may be, is grass, generally regarded as safe. CBD is not going to be any less than that. And maybe some of the other ones, they may say, I don't know. I don't know how they decide whether Delta 8 or THCV or, CBG, same category as CBD, I guarantee it. CBN, same category as CBD, I guarantee it. And so, now the other ones may be a little questionable. Prove that it's unsafe to drive or operate a large machine on Delta 8 and then say that it's not safe for the general public. And I truly believe that this is why the FDA doesn't want to do anything, because everybody knows that all these things, that CBD and all these, they're generally regarded as safe, grass. But the FDA doesn't want to actually do the studies to prove it. And again, before I think, moving forward in all politics, in order to make something illegal, especially a natural something, I think that there has to be the equivalent of the studies that have to prove that a medicine is healthy. Like a 5-year study to prove marijuana is actually bad for us, or anything new. Prove that it's unhealthy before you just say, well, because you're enjoying it. Yes, humans, we know that you're enjoying that. And the last thing your government wants from you is to you enjoy a substance. And it's more about we want our cut. But the fact of the matter is that just say something's unsafe so you can make it illegal, to me, should be unconstitutional. Prove that it's unhealthy or unsafe, and then protect us dumb humans that can't speak for ourselves. And that's why the politicians exist, because us dumb humans as a majority can't really speak for ourselves on these things. That's their rationalization to why there's one human that gets to make a decision for, say, 1 million humans in a certain district in the country. Which to me, once again, is absurd. I don't know why we don't get to vote on federal issues. Why can't we go to the poll twice a year to vote on the hemp economic mobilization plan? I mean, we vote in our local governments and in our state governments for initiatives and acts and all these things, but we don't get to vote on the federal ones. That's absurd. Because why? Because we, by majority, picked one human to represent us collectively. And because we're not rational enough to make the right decisions. All in all, we made the right decision to elect this person, but we don't make the right decision when it comes to speaking for what's safe, unsafe, or what the laws should be. That's just, again, ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We should get to vote on the Farm Bill. We should get to vote on everything. Everything that the money, why don't we get to vote when it comes to these economic bills that shuts down the government? I don't know. Well, because supposedly we picked someone to vote for us. We picked a voice for us when it comes to whoever your senator is and congressman and your state's congressman when it comes to that, because I believe Congress is the only place that actually is responsible for making laws and removing laws. So it's a lot of stake in that congressman of yours or ours or whatever. So anyway, there you have that. So we'll see where those two bills go. We'll see where the farm bill goes. We still don't know. States are still at a fury, which I'll talk about in a little while when it comes to cannabinoids and whatnot. And obviously terpenes I talked about last week, where terpenes are now an issue. If someone wanted to limit their terpenes to 6% in a bill or something, I'm like, ay. And I'll talk about terpenes here in a little while because I'm excited about that. So I know I showed at one point or another a remake of a cabinet or something. I found yet another DIY cabinet rebuild. And it was, kind of interesting because, again, it was sealed with hemp oil. So basically, you take your cabinet, clean it up, you sand it down, you actually paint it, I believe, first. And this person was using a milk paint, which would also absorb into the wood. Any water-based paint, and milk is 90% water, regardless of what you make that milk out of. So you could conceivably make hemp milk paint and use that. It's going to absorb into the wood. It was interesting, though, because the piece of wood that this person was redoing, after they had painted it with the hemp milk, not hemp milk, I'm sorry, milk paint. I'm dreaming of painting it with hemp milk as well. They coated it with the hemp oil, which was something the other person did to seal it. And they said it took almost three going overs with the hemp oil to absorb all the hemp oil in to really bring that dried wood back, which would keep it from breaking. I think make it harder is what happens there when you add that hemp oil and bring the moisture back into the wood. And then of course their advice there is have a separate paintbrush for your hemp oil, which is always good advice in my opinion. I can't believe I may have given you that advice before. Now what we really want to see, or what I'd really like to see, is a hemp paintbrush. You can make the handle out of hemp. You can make the head out of hemp. You can make it all out of hemp if you really wanted to. I truly believe. I'm a believer in these things. And so that's what I'm looking for next, is a hemp-handled hemp paint brush to paint your hemp milk paint and your hemp oil sealant with. That's a hemp world I want to live in. So the military is they're banning Delta 8. They found out Delta 8 was making their soldiers too calm, I think.
Yeah.
So they're adding Delta 8 to their illustrious list of banned substances. Now I want to be clear here. Hemp is on that banned substance. All right. And when I say hemp, I mean hemp shampoo. I mean hemp soap. I mean, as far as I know, honestly to God, hemp clothing. Like, they're not, military soldiers are not allowed to be around hemp in any form. I may have to go back, but I'm pretty sure that they have banned CBD. I don't believe you can use CBD in the military. And, Delta 8's the same thing, and for the same reasons. Like, they don't want calm soldiers. They don't want collected soldiers. They really don't want clear thinking soldiers.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is all that they're really proving there, is that they don't want. Now, they claim it's part of their zero tolerance to intoxicating substances, which apparently include alcohol now, which is crazy. Again, I don't know if you got a 3-day furlough. If you go out on Friday night and get drunk, I don't know how the military's ever going to know you were drinking. But I'm just saying, that was the rumor in this article, is that alcohol is actually banned in the military, which I may have to look into, because I can't believe that they would do that, because they love a drunk soldier. They don't think or care as much. I'm not. That's a general statement. I'm not just talking about the individual soldier. I'm talking about generally speaking. It's just how what I believe. It's my opinion, as it's clearly thrown out in the High Noon Hemp Show every week. Just my opinion, Beach's opinion. So don't use Delta 8 anymore, soldiers. Move on to Delta 10 or THCP or one of the ones that they haven't banned yet. See what that gets you. I know, so I can't say THCA, because I do believe that THCA would show up on a drug test as THC, because as science is stated with the THCA, it turns into THC when you put heat to it. So if that's the case, as soon as you ingest it, you're actually ingesting THC. Therefore, that would definitely fail a drug test. So Louisiana's new law is already getting challenged. I need to look in, because I don't know. I don't remember what Louisiana's new laws are. I'm sure that they are obviously probably THC quantities related, or possibly banning some of the intoxicating hemp stuff. We'll see, but it is getting challenged. I don't think it has taken effect yet, is why I'm not really sure what's going on with it, but it is getting challenged already. This is pretty neat. Other than we already have the results for this, because the study has been done, but West Virginia University has acquired $2.2 million for a 5-year study of driving under the influence of CBD. Like I said, the study is now what I want is $2.2 million for driving under the influence of THC. That's what I want to see. Okay, I want to see if it. They keep telling us that it's a bad thing, but I have not yet seen an actual study that actually proves that. Now, the CBD study was done in the UK, and this was done. If you've watched the show for a while, you would have watched it. It's on an episode, probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe. And the study in the UK that was done, it was a large selection of humans, and proved that CBD had zero effect on the way a person drives. And I knew this, because CBD has no side effects. It doesn't, even if you say the side effects of cannabis can make you a worse driver, which has never been proven. Okay. There are no side effects of CBD. You don't feel it. It makes you calm. And I know people use it for sleep, but I think that there's also a misperception out there that you take some CBD and then all of a sudden you can't stay awake. That is 100% not the way that it works. Okay. It aids in longevity of sleep, because I believe it calms the body and it calms the brain and it makes things better. But it's not so much that, once again, I would feel confident, and it might be an interesting study. I would feel confident drinking a 600 milligram jar of our hemp oil, CBD hemp oil. It's both. That's it. And driving a vehicle. I know that I would feel confident that I wouldn't, I would be calm, and I would probably want to take a nap, but I don't know that I would have to, and I don't know that it would make it unsafe to drive. And once again, the study in UK, and I don't know what the quantities of CBD were, or how high they went with a dose before someone was driving, but they did show that CBD causes zero side effects that relate to driving poorly in any way. And I will want to bring up that the only study, one of the only legitimate studies out there that actually proved THC was not harmful was a government study way back in, I believe, the 50s, maybe before. But there was a government study done that, and again, this was all substances: cocaine, marijuana, heroin, alcohol, all this intoxicating substances, to see. And my understanding was they were doing the study to see if they could then encourage other governments, military, soldiers to use these substances to make them worse soldiers. And once again, marijuana, as they call it, showed no negligible effects to make poor driving. Now, alcohol and marijuana together, that did show that that's not a good combination, only because, once again, alcohol is a terrible thing to do while driving. I'm totally for that. I'm not. I drink alcohol. I have driven where I was, I never caused an accident, and I never, any of those things. But I will say that I'm sure that I drank an unsafe amount of alcohol to be driving, because again, that's why the limits are so low, because it doesn't take much alcohol to affect your motor skills. This is the problem. Okay. Does THC affect your motor skills? Not really. Does CBD affect your motor skills? Not at all, I don't think, in a negative way. Does alcohol affect your motor skills? Unbelievably. Okay, well, it's a proven fact. Okay, and so I am all for responsible drinking and driving. Okay, DUIs and arresting people for DUIs under the current circumstances will never get rid of that, because all they do is make money on DUIs. They don't save lives. They just make money. Make it that the first DUI you get, you go to jail for 30 days. First DUI you get, you go to jail for 30 days. That will reduce the amount of people drinking and driving to excess. For the most part, most people have, well, my first DUI is just going to cost me a couple $1,000s, but all in all, whatever. I have been directly related to DUI, drunk driving. My brother could have been easily killed by a drunk driver, as this drunk driver struck the side of their vehicle going full speed through a red light. My brother and the other kids in the car were unbelievably lucky. But and of course, the drunk driver walked away without a scratch, because that's normally how it happens, because normally they're asleep and relaxed when they get into accidents. And so they're, but anyway, and so, I definitely believe in drinking responsibly, and driving, that for that matter. And then, once again, when it comes to, this is going to be $2.2 million well spent, I guess, even though I don't know why it's going to cost so much. I mean, that's a lot of CBD, I guess. But and why it's going to take so long, a 5-year study. I just start putting the kids out on a test track right now, and then, adults or whatever, and see what happens. I don't understand why it's going to take 5 years to do. But anyway, then all in all, they're going to find out that 5 years from now, that CBD does not inhibit someone's ability to drive a motor vehicle in any way. Okay, I feel confident that, truck drivers can use CBD. And again, I think it would be beneficial to truck drivers to use CBD. It would make us a safer world if truck drivers did not feel like they shouldn't use CBD. Bus drivers, city bus drivers for that matter, get those suckers on some CBD, because they need it, man. Our metro bus drivers, they need CBD. The government should be encouraging them. Anyway, so we'll keep you informed 5 years from now. we'll probably still be here on the High Noon Hemp Show. And so we'll let you know how the studies turn out. So Japan is changing their CBD laws, and they're going to a parts per million, which basically means you won't have any CBD products, any of that anymore. They'll still grow hemp in Japan for clothing, which is semi-popular. I think they'll still grow hemp in Japan for seed, but there will be no more flower growing. If it's growing, I don't even know. I feel like they must have had a pretty lax, and CBD must have been legal in Japan with their industrial hemp laws before, because they love hemp. They love hemp in Japan. And again, why wouldn't they? They have a very limited space for agriculture in Japan. So why would you not want to grow a plant that feeds people, clothes people, build their houses out of it, could run their cars conceivably out of it? You could build your cars conceivably out of it. All the cosmetic solution, shampoos, soap, all that stuff, which is then earth friendly as well, you can make out of it. And so you could really have one main agricultural product supplying the entire country with goods on every level. Why wouldn't you embrace that? Again, it's the whole reason why everywhere should embrace that. You know how much space we have to grow hemp in the United States? It could once again save the planet, replace all those bad things that we don't need to have on the shelves with all the good things that we want to have on the shelves still, all from one plant. That conceivably could change the world. Conceivably change the world. So California has just recently changed its laws when it comes to THC and CBD and whatever. But this is really new. I was talking about terpenes earlier. There's a farm, and it may be the largest. They're saying it could be the largest industrial hemp farm in California that is growing just for terpenes. So he's growing industrial hemp just for terpenes because he sees this as a natural solution for flavorings, which is 100% true. So many terpenes could supply a natural flavoring to something, and then not have to rely on artificial flavoring. Once again, another hemp product that would make humans healthier. A safer food product. And I think that, that is definitely something that, again, because of the way we have been breeding industrial hemp for the last, 30, 40 years. And that's all, a lot of that is on the terpenes. Certain flavors of cannabis come with the terpenes. And I think now that we're starting to divide all those terpenes up, and you can put this terpene in a jar. And I saw, a food show, cannabis food show 3 or 4 years ago. And they had every form of cannabis to cook with, including all the terpenes in particular jars for flavor additives. Now, of course, we're also learning that terpenes may be responsible for certain things, calming here, clearing there, whatever it may be. But utilizing terpenes for flavorings. And right now, that's one thing that they're, like this farmer mentioned, is that they're using these terpenes to flavor vapes. And once again, it's a natural flavoring as opposed to an artificial flavoring one way or another. So it has, again, endless uses. From the candy industry, I can just definitely see the candy industry benefiting from terpene infused flavored candies. Drinks, food, whatever it may be. I'd like to have some lemonade flavored stuff that's lemonade terpene, whatever. whatever it may be. It can be utilized for those things. So check out this house. This is kind of neat. This was a remodel, and the interior, again, the I guess the walls from the kitchen, all these are all. And now they describe these structures as actually load-bearing structures. Now, I don't believe this is not in the United States. This is somewhere else. But this was pretty neat how they used the hemp one way or another. Obviously, some neat architectural work there. The coolest thing, only because I am so sensitized to 420, if you really look closely at the clock on the wall, it's 420 on the clock on the wall. I don't know how close you can get there, but I noticed it, and only because I noticed 420 on a clock. Even my bad eyes, but anyway, that was some pretty neat timing with that pick. Even if it was unplanned, it's brilliant. If it was planned, it was also brilliant. Really neat there with the use of the hempcrete, which is getting more and more use all the time. All right, here are some picks. Now, this is from the LSU Department of Textiles. A month or two ago, I showed you, I think Oregon State University was doing a fashion show based on hemp. Louisiana State University has now done one. The requirements to put something into the competition was that it had to be at least 50% hemp. So now all these outfits seem, like reasonable. Like you can see a woman specifically, because these are all women's outfits, wearing any of this clothing, which I think is great one way or another. Now, and the exhibition is called Hemp Impressions: Sustainable Fiber and Fashion Reimagined. The next photo is actually, now this was designed by one of the fashion professors, and she was basing this, as you can see, on 70s, kind of more of a 70s look. What I find interesting is that I would assume that would have to be like a hemp silk almost blend to get that smoothness out of the hemp. If that's 100% hemp, then that is a really neat weave. And again, what I think is there's and I don't know. I guess they had to outsource the material themselves. I don't know. Did they actually come make these materials, which I think would be great, and then make these outfits? I don't know. But that's pretty cool. And then the last photo is obviously like, come on. But the left is actually not an outfit. The left is actually a hemp bag. And I believe, if I remember correctly, it actually has real lavender flowers attached to it or something. Now, I think that the outfit on the right, which of course is purple, so I can't be too, whatever. It's definitely fashion. And what I think is the most interesting thing about it, and that I love, actually, is you cannot tell in any way, even I cannot tell in any way, looking at it, that it's hemp material. And so what I really love about that is something that I say the same thing about vegan hamburgers to convince human hamburger eaters, beef eaters, to eat it, is if you want it, it's got to look and taste the same. Same with materials. So if you want someone that loves to wear satin or silk or any of those things, then we have to be able to make and weave hemp into silk materials, and so we really have to, and we are. The Chinese have been producing most of the material that goes to most of the clothing that we make from hemp these days, majority. 70% probably. And that's because they are developing the weaves from jean weaves to canvas weaves to linen weaves to silk blended hemp weaves. Because once again, to convince most of the fabric world and the material world to use hemp, we have to be able to replicate what people want. That's the whole, and we're doing a much better job, but it's very hard to make like a cotton feel t-shirt out of hemp because of all the great reasons that make hemp great. The length of the hemp makes it superior in strength, but it also makes it a little bit harder to make it softer. But the process to make a cotton t-shirt is ridiculous. It's just all the way around, from the water used to the chemicals used, everything's ridiculous. But I get that argument that it's a cost thing, but it's also a feel thing. Like, if someone buys a t-shirt, they want it to feel like cotton because everyone's used to that. So we need to make hemp t-shirts feel like cotton. And we're doing that. There are companies that are doing that more and more every day. I should say slow and slower. And there are some that have been doing it since we've been in business since 1995. Now I believe it's more on a cost issue than it is. But, we're slowly getting there. And so just to think that, that material that's in that outfit there is at least 50% hemp, no one would know that. And once again, that's what I want to do, is put as much hemp out there for no one to notice. Save the planet. We can all go about our ways in a, cleaner air, cleaner food, cleaner water, all the cleaner things we want. Hemp doesn't want the credit. It just wants to do it because that's what it was put on this planet to do. More and more things every day, as you find out on the High Noon Hemp Show here. So very cool. And I look forward to, I definitely look forward to more universities doing these fashion shows, to get students interested in using hemp in the fashion world, and then to get the fashion world to pay attention and start using that in the real world. Not in the fashion world, but the real world. Anyway. All right. Well, I did not have any questions. I did not have any thoughts. We do have one event coming up. Next Tuesday is the Halloween party at Mad Tree. This is part of the Medical Marijuana Meetup group. It's going to go on from 8 to 11. Multiple categories of costumes. It doesn't necessarily have to be cannabis related, but I would recommend, because I'm sure there's going to be at least a couple categories of cannabis related. I just came up with a great easy outfit, but I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to use it this year, but I might. Who knows? If I have till next Tuesday to actually come up with this, I might be able to do it pretty easily. It's a pretty good one now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, so again, next Tuesday at Mad Tree, I believe it's October 29th. I don't know where somehow my events disappeared off of my sheet here. I don't know how that even happens. Oh, but anyway. So yes, next Tuesday, 29th, Halloween costume party at Mad Tree here in Cincinnati on Madison Road from 8 to 11. Like I said, your costume does not have to be. There'll be all kinds of costume categories. So it does not necessarily have to be cannabis related, but it might help if it would be more fun if it was. Mine isn't directly cannabis related, so I'm going to add some cannabis related items to it, unless I come up with this new one that I just thought of. We'll see. Anyway, so thanks everybody for watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching later. We appreciate it. Here on the High Noon Hemp Show, remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See y'all next week.